Alright, here we go again. Access control list. Today I'm going to further explain access control list. Made a scenario right here, and I'm going to follow it and demonstrate it and also do some testing for it. Okay? So here's our topology. We got our firewall right here. We have our DMZ where people from the internet can access our public servers. And then, of course, on the other side of our firewall, we have our client network where all of our clients are working, and also our management machines are here as well. So let's see what our scenario is and our goal is. We need to administer servers in DMZ from the client network. All right, I see that. And each machine in the client network should be dedicated to a server in the DMZ except the RDP machine, which can have access to all three. So the web client should only have access to the web server, email client should only have access to the email server, etc., etc. So if we didn't have any access control lists, then the web server, the web host will have access to the web server, the email server, and the secure FTP server, which, according to our scenario, that cannot happen. So we need to limit that access. So we're going to have to implement some access control lists on this firewall right here. And I wrote down this syntax. And before I actually start configuring these access control lists, I want to break down the syntax. This is for a Cisco iOS. So depending on what type of device you're on, this will vary, but it all has the same flavor. So let's break this down. So the big thing about access control list is it going to be a permit statement or a deny statement? So according to what we want to do, we want to only give access to one machine to another. So we're going to do permit statements. And remember, on every access list, there is always an implicit deny at the end. Whoa, what was that? Deny. There's always an implicit deny at the end. So you have to explicitly give someone access with the permit. So let's get rid of all that stuff there. And what else we got? So we're permitting something. And here we are permitting the protocol. So this is the transport protocol. So this would be TCP or UDP. And depending on what the actual port number is, that will tell you if it's going to be TCP or UDP. So if we were trying to only permit web traffic, which is on port 80, are we going to use TCP or UDP? Well, you could do both, but it normally rides on TCP. Okay, so after that, let's continue on with this syntax. We have this IP address here, and then that IP address there. So this first IP address is going to be the source. Where is this packet coming from? And then the next one is the destination. So where is this packet destined? So that is that. And then you also see this thing host right here. When you see host on an iOS access control list, think of a subnet mask of a /32. Okay? So I want to explicitly give access to this person that has this IP address. All right, so let's say we were trying to give access the web client to the web server. We would say access list 100 permit TCP host 10.100.10. and then that 1. And then where is it explicitly going? Well, he's going to 191.100.10.1. So then we would put a 1 right there. And then equals the port number. So this is where the port number would come into play. All right? So let's configure this, and let's do this for all of these clients down here. So erase everything. Let's bring up R1. Shrink this down so we could actually see that syntax. Go into global config mode, and let's do access list 100 permit TCP host, and then this is where what do we want to give access, or where's this packet coming from? And it is going to come from the web client right here. So his address is 10.100.10.1. And then where's it going? Well, it's going to a specific host. So think of that, remember host, think of a /32. And it's going to 191.100.10.1. And what port are we allowing him to go through? Which would be port 80. Sweet. So hit enter. So that was good. But remember, we could build an access list with many lines. So let's just continue and build another line so we could allow the email client to manage the email server. So good thing with Cisco iOS, I could hit the up arrow and it brings pretty much everything back up, the previous line that I just did, so I could edit that. So I want to give access to, 10.100.10.5, destined to 191.100.10.5 as well. Just so happen that the IP addresses match up. And email. What is the port number for email? 25, SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. Enter. So now we got to do another statement for Secure File Transfer Protocol. Hit up. What is the port number for Secure File Transfer Protocol, or Secure Copy, or even Secure Shell? They're all the same. Port 22. And let's change the destination IP addresses to 9. That's it. So what else do we have? Also says the RDP machine will have access to all 3. So now we need to give explicit access to all 3. So what is the port number for Remote Desktop Protocol? 3389. And where is it destined to? So it's going to be the first one. His source address is going to be 13. So hit enter. So that gave him access to the web server. Change the destination now to 5 for the email server. And then the secure file transfer server as well. Hit 9. Bam. So this access list is already being applied. So let's do some tests. So let's go into the client network, just right here. And let's do some pings. So we could actually disguise our packet to use certain ports instead of just ping packets. So let's do traceroute 191.100.10.1. Hit the question mark. We can source it from the web client's IP address, which is 10.100.10.1 on port, should be 80, right? And let's hit enter. And we got some weird thing going on here. I don't know why that didn't work, so I'm going to use another command, telnet. Telnet 191.100.10.1. What is it? Port 80 from the source interface of loopback 1. So this source interface loopback 1 is actually using this address right here. I don't have an actual client for that, but it should still work. So that worked. See how it said open? Let's exit that out. If I hit the up arrow again and let me use a different address, like loopback 2 is that address right there for the email server, and this should not work. And we got a destination unreachable. So that just proves that our access list worked. Let me pull up that access list again. So pretty much this is just what it looks like. Just follow the syntax. If you have trouble following the syntax, talk yourself through it. Talk yourself like it's a story. Where is it going? What protocol am I using? where is this packet destined to? What port number is it on? So just if you kind of remember the syntax and just talk yourself through it, creating an access list is pretty easy. So just remember, if you want to explicitly permit one address, you're going to use a /32. Okay, one address to another address. Hope this gave you a better understanding on access control lists. Remember, it is just one list with a whole bunch of permit or deny statements, and there's always an implicit deny at the end. So if you want something to be allowed, then you have to have that permit statement there. Yep. I hope this was informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.